Dude, that's what I hate about candles is that if your hands are not small enough, you burn yourself,
That is true.
especially the lower it goes.
Mm. Burnt fingers. Love it.
We do love some burnt finger nuggets.
There it is. The wick is a little too long, but it's all good, right?
So this candle is called the Warm Lux Cashmere.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
By Yankee Candles. And it's honestly, it's a vibe.
What kind of mood does it put you in?
Puts me in a creative mood.
Mm,
It's the whole point of this place, you know?
that's true.
Yeah. I'm on a good one today. What you been up to, man?
Just chilling, just working. I've been missing the podcast. It's been like a week. It's so funny to me, like a week into not recording an episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I already miss it. I think that's a very good sign.
Yeah. I mean, we got used to it. We got used to multiple days a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get busy and, you know, got to make money. Got to do different operations. Got to work out. Got to,
True.
be a team player in other corners of your life.
A lot of it's a juggling act.
Mm-hmm.
But this begs the question, how does one juggle?
It's different for everyone, I would say.
How do you juggle then?
How do I juggle? I disconnect from the people that I know. And the only people I know at that very moment are people that are a part of whatever operation I'm going towards.
Mm,
So basically, my break times consist of sleep and cooking. Why? Because one is therapy and the other is therapy. So if you don't got much time, you got to just take it in. Like, for example, if I know that the next 2 weeks I'm going to be doing the same tasks towards one goal,
hmm
it's going to be packaged into one day. Like, those 2 weeks are going to feel like one day.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything else except that. And once that is over, I will reward myself.
So you basically act like a hermit.
Basically, I use whatever time of the day that I need. I know that there are 24 hours in a day. And you know what? I can sleep in increments of 3 or 2 hours or 5 hours if I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
as long as everything gets done. Do you see, like, if I have distractions or, I could go get dinner today or do all these things on any given day throughout those 2 weeks,
Yeah.
it's not going to work. You're going to be distracted. So I'm not going to infuse quote unquote leisure time
Mm-hmm.
within my week of flow or 2 weeks of flow.
Yeah.
My flow for the 2 weeks are going to be work. So I make it like a game, kind of. Like, hey, you get to sleep, but that's it. Like, that is your playtime.
You're trying to see how much you can get done within
Yeah.
the arranged
Test yourself. Like,
time block.
yeah, it's kind of like the old director's method of, hey, let's rent a hotel room and the bill's going to keep stacking. So we better walk out of here with an idea.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that idea.
So you really go back into your shell and you just make shit happen.
Yeah. Back against the wall type of mentality.
And we can all do it. I mean, the first 2 days you kind of go insane, but after that you realize that cooking is fun, and
Mhm.
I would rather cook than do work.
Yeah.
But you limit it. You see what I mean? I need to eat in order to function properly, so I use cooking as a tool of playfulness or
Mhm.
whatever.
Well, then what are the problems that come out of that hermit mentality? Or like when you put yourself in that space for 2 weeks, what problems arise?
Well, you're gonna be kind of a dead man for the first day of rest without any work.
Yeah.
Um, so your readiness is, according to my aura ring, it's gonna be,
Shout out to the Aura Ring.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty low. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Take it easy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I obviously it's probably gonna take me a while to go back to like crazy activities. Going to the gym, doing intensity workouts, things like that. Probably the first couple of days. Those are some cons. Is that you feel like you're low energy
Mhm.
because you kind of are hurdled in, right?
You are for sure.
Yeah. Um, but no, dude. I mean, I don't see that many cons. I see it
Mhm.
as something where you force yourself to learn when you don't feel like learning as much. And sometimes you don't even know you're learning and you walk out learning something new, whether you knew it or not.
Yeah.
You really do. Whether it's about yourself, about the material that was given to you, about other people,
Mm.
about work ethic, it could be anything. And yeah.
Yeah, the juggling is super interesting. I mean, I like to approach it. I don't approach it from a time management perspective, more of an energy management perspective.
Mhm.
That's why I care about my sleep so much. All the other stuff,
So,
sunbathing,
so you would agree, obviously, that like what I did is kind of healthier
Yeah.
because my leisure times consisted of like, hey, let's regenerate that energy.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Mhm.
very specific. So diet,
Mhm.
obviously. I'm not gonna be baking cake. Like, no, make it count.
Yeah.
Like, the previous couple hours I had chicken, so now I'm gonna have beef and greens,
Mhm.
and then my third meal is gonna be fruit, like a fat fruit salad. I
Yeah.
posted one on Twitter the other day. This is a fat bowl, but yeah, like that.
Even with the sleep, like I'm not a believer that you have to get 8.5 hours of sleep every single night for the rest of your life. I think that's unrealistic. It's
Mm-hmm.
stupid. There are times in your life where you have to um, act like you're in a crunch, so to speak, and like miss some hours of sleep. It's
Yeah,
just how it is.
yeah,
So to put yourself in that specific space for like 2 weeks and then go back to your normal routine, I think is totally acceptable.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It goes back to what I used to say about spicing up your days. You're adding little
Yeah.
toppings, right?
Yeah.
Not every day is the same. So, I mean, if you need to
Hmm.
stay up past 3 a.m., working, 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 make sure it's beneficial, first of all. If it's not, you're just wasting your time. Maybe not, actually. Maybe like someone chose to do nothing
Hmm.
because they deserve doing nothing because they've worked so hard, right?
Yeah.
And they decided to do that past 3 a.m. That's fine. But like generally, I think if you're used to waking up at a certain time every day,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what time you go to sleep, you'll relatively still wake up at that time. And I think that's
Yeah.
healthier. I don't know.
Depends on the
Like,
person. Because obviously you have the placebo
yeah.
effect in play. If you think it's healthier,
Hmm.
who knows? It might actually be healthier for you.
Yeah.
Power of the mind, all that stuff, it's real. And a lot of people don't take that into account.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also fun in something very serious. So, like, if I'm spending my time, you know, excessively, like past 20 hours of work, right?
Hmm.
A lot of people will look at me and just be like, "That's crazy, man. You need to sleep." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't feel like sleeping." You see what I
Yeah.
mean? Then you're in a flow. Keep
Hmm.
it going. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's much healthier than deciding to just stop and go to sleep. Because guess what? Tomorrow you're gonna wake up in a different mood, in a different attitude, and you're gonna
Yeah.
have to attack again when you've already attacked and now you're just sitting in the constant.
Hmm.
Um,
It actually segues into a good topic. I mean, you just mentioned it. It's like health is a means to an end. It's
mhm.
not the end itself.
Yeah,
Like I've mentioned this before in previous episodes. What the hell is the point of focusing on your sleep, your nutrition, your sunlight exposure, all that, if you're not doing something with that health, if you're not using the energy and expending it
that's true.
on building something?
Yeah,
There's no point.
there really isn't.
Otherwise, you're just wasting all this time and energy on trying to be perceived as somebody who's healthy rather than
Hmm.
pursuing something meaningful in your
Yeah.
life.
It's funny because now I'm looking at it in the perspective of we're all visual learners and visual creatures. Like we design our lives based off of visionary things,
Mhm.
like someone's lifestyle. You're not sitting there with him knowing everything. It's just them showing you exactly what good lifestyle means,
Yeah.
right? It's a really white house with the most beautiful kitchen, right? And then you got to have like the most expensive shorts. And if you don't have glutes, you can't do any of this.
But what you don't see is that
Yeah,
there are dead bodies in the basement.
yeah, and they're buying their children McDonald's. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to save money. Everyone is trying. We're all on the same train.
Mhm.
It's just selective. People that have influence and have a following can choose to show you these things,
Mhm.
right? And that has nothing to do with health. That's my main issue. It's like it looks visually healthy,
Yeah.
but is it healthy? Let's get down to it, you know? And most of the time, if you get down to it, it's like, dude, there are so many avenues of healthy. There's not
Mhm.
one healthy thing.
Mhm. It depends on the
It
thing.
it depends on the thing, but once you get into healthy in general, there's different avenues.
It's
Like
such a
there's not
murky and like broad topic.
yeah. So why we view things as very white and pristine and in 4K quality as
Mhm.
very healthy,
Yeah.
you know? Um, I mean, dude, they make bananas look good. You know what I mean? We
They
could
make those bananas look
yeah,
hella
you can
delicious.
substitute that. You could absolutely, but I get it now. It's like people think, "Oh, no, bananas are healthy."
Yeah.
Why? Because one video done very well in
Mhm.
very good lighting that probably costed thousands of dollars
Yeah.
looked healthy. So your brain is interpreting it as healthy without you knowing what the base actual true knowledge is behind that.
And I'll bring up two things here. So, in terms of nutrition, like the whole banana example,
Mhm.
there's a concept called biochemical individuality.
Okay.
And this is the idea that each person has different nutritional needs based on where they grew up, how much stress they've had within their environment, the habits they've developed over the course of their life.
Mhm.
So, diet is a very personalized thing. A banana might be healthy for you, but it might fuck me up.
That's true. We've seen that happen.
It's real.
Juice.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The juice. It was like beet and cranberry juice or something.
That messed me
And
up.
yeah, it messed you up, but for me, it did wonders. And we drank it at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a great example. You're like, man, I don't know what you did to me, but I'm never having juice again. I'm like, hey,
I'm not
can't
having
blame
that
this.
juice again.
Yeah, that juice.
Yeah.
You can have juice, but
What was the other thing I wanted to mention? Oh, the whole concept of like, okay, focusing on the aesthetic of health rather than being healthy. I did not know this, but
Mhm.
do you know? So obviously there are a lot of women who have Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
They're influencers, they like to push a certain narrative, look a certain way, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Did you know how many of them actually edit their photos to such a retarded degree that like they're trying to portray something they're not? I'm
Mhm.
talking about going on a specific app, making their waist smaller, making their ass bigger, boobs bigger, all that stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of women do that.
I know, man.
And it's actually
I
shocking because I was shown exactly
yeah,
how they do that.
that's crazy. And this is the scary thing about technology is that like I'm an editor, right?
Yeah.
And I know, dude, as much as you can make things look seamless on photo,
Yeah.
you can also make things seem seamless on
Mhm.
video, which is even scarier.
For sure.
So I get you. And it's this, I would say, dude, this goes out to the guys, right?
Yeah.
To the dudes that are listening.
To the dudes.
If we do not stop liking these and giving them our money, I'm not saying I do, because I clearly don't.
Or so he says.
Or so anyone says. It does not matter. But the whole point is, I don't support that crap. And I feel like if you want women, go get them. Do not like their posts
Yeah.
for dumb crap. I don't think we're even going out enough in the correct places
Mhm.
to begin with. We had this conversation in person, remember, with our homies?
What was it about
It
specifically?
was about like, we don't go out, dude. We literally don't go out. It's kind of like you know,
You stay in your own little
yeah,
bubble and
what do we
then
call it? A cock fest. Yeah, that's what we call it.
no, it's real, yeah.
A sausage fest. It's
Mhm.
just kind of like, dude, no. I don't think that's as healthy to be closed in one room like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, why don't we take this and go out?
Yeah.
You have potential to see faces, to do new things, to whatever it is, right?
That's the
And
thing.
we
Why
shy
don't
away now. Now we're kind of looking for it online.
Mhm.
We're still inside,
Yeah.
right? This is so funny. It reminds me of Dalton, but but Dalton's a very outside guy,
Yeah, I mean, he's in Mexico right now.
right? Like you would never catch him playing COD.
No.
He's the
No.
one of the
I cannot
only
imagine
people,
Dalton playing
yeah,
video games.
that I can picture not playing COD at all.
Mhm.
So that's amazing. And look at him.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
By the way, I wanted to show you this picture of an example of the
Yeah.
Photoshop. So this is Kim Kardashian, by the way. and she got accused of photoshopping her pictures because obviously it's Photoshop. Look at her leg.
Oh my god.
It's
Oh my
it's
god.
like the worst Photoshop job I've ever seen. And apparently the one of the best ways to tell if a woman does have a photoshopped picture is to look at the sides because you'll see an unnatural curvature within the
Ah,
photo. So usually
okay.
if they're against a wall, you can see on the edge if there's a curvature. If
Aha.
there is, Photoshop bullshit.
Okay. So it's a little warped.
It's stunning, man.
That's I would say unfortunate because to a man, women are supposed to be this beautiful specimen, right?
Yeah.
And we are supposed to be the masculine leaders that we are not, unfortunately, for most of us.
Some of us are.
We know who we are. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like we look for femininity and it's just vanishing at this point, and
Yeah.
everyone feels the need to lie.
It's vanity at this point.
Yep.
Little play on words there.
Vanity. Yeah, and I don't think I'll ever get over it, but hey, I mean, this is the world we live in right now,
Mhm.
and I feel like me and you can change it somehow.
Oh, of course we can. Of course.
And it's kind of like just taking our different paths, but like also knowing our audience and crowd.
Mhm. Just bringing these subjects up, like, to discuss is important because it brings the awareness into the equation.
You're right.
But I mean, I obviously feel sorry for those types of women, but I feel even more sorry for the dudes who do it because I'm sure guys do it as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Make their arms look bigger, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So we, dude, incentives.
Mhm.
We like as men,
Ooh.
dude, we're just rats at this point. Like, why, dude? Like, OnlyFans is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing because the only reason why they have a revenue is because of simpy dudes.
The incentive of sex.
My
Comes down
God.
to
And
that.
it's not even the incentive of sex, it's the incentive of the idea of sex.
Very good point. The fantasy behind it.
So these are real things that you can actually get. And here
These
we
are
are.
You can actually have sex with a real woman if you
And here we are, like, admitting that, hey, we're waiting for the metaverse. Like, we are so digitally, like, doing things now that even my pleasure comes out of there.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
so bad. That
Yeah.
is so bad, man. Like, we have, I'm just gonna start with scent, bro. Smell. All right. We're gonna get to a point in life where we are gonna smell the same smell 24/7 because you actually have not left the place when you really thought you did.
We're already at that point for a lot of people.
Think about it. Your grocery store smells a certain way.
Mhm.
That parking lot smells different. Your car smells different. Your room smells different. Your living room smells different.
Mm.
Everything. So imagine that in your mind, you are doing these things,
Mhm.
but now you have forgotten that you've only been smelling one smell for the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Dude,
because you have sat in your damn room that whole time.
remember we discussed the hermit mentality, except it's almost like monk mode to get better in your life, to improve your life. Now imagine being a hermit living in monk mode, except doing the exact opposite things and just destroying it for
Hmm.
your entire life.
Yeah.
Plenty of dudes doing that. Plenty of women doing that.
Yeah. Plenty of human beings doing that.
Yeah, just people in general.
And dude, it's like I said, it's unfortunate because
Mhm.
for guys like us that want to do it, uh, what do they call it? Traditional these days, just
Sure.
because it's real life.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, yeah, when you look for your woman, you have specifics, right? And most of the specifics are just basically one thing: be feminine,
Yeah, because I mean, it's all packaged up in
right?
one thing.
Yeah, just be feminine, and if you can't even find that these days,
You
as
can though.
easy. You can, of course, but I'm saying, like, we're busy. we're doing this, we're kind of stuck in a bubble,
Mhm.
right? So to say, you're not going to venture out as much.
Yeah.
So therefore, you've kind of seen the whole thing, right?
Mhm.
Unless someone comes out of nowhere, one of these years, not even
True.
days. Um,
Eventually down the road.
yeah, it'll like, I don't think it should take that long. I really don't. I feel
What,
like
getting
it's
into a
just getting
relationship?
harder. No, I feel finding the one that a man seeks. You know what I mean? A feminine, nice
Mhm.
gal that is competitive in the right ways, right? Not competitive in the today's means,
That helps
I
bring you
make
up.
more money than you and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. It's we think we're moving forwards, but we're actually going backwards in a sense of like positive to negative.
Yeah.
So we're not going towards the positive anymore. We're going towards the negative sides.
Mhm. Life comes full circle. I mean, if you, a lot of a lot of women will have a problem with me saying this, but like going back to the 1940s, 50s, 60s, there was obviously more stability in terms of the family dynamic, the
Mhm.
nuclear family unit, right?
Yeah.
Within society, within the United States specifically, where we did have gender roles because they existed for a reason,
Mhm.
a very real reason and legitimate one. But now, of course, you have women who are more independent, doing their own thing. I mean, I can lean on plenty of examples, but the point, it goes from like healthy to unhealthy. Now we're going to start to see the pendulum swing back into a more healthy route,
Mhm.
because it's always like that.
Yeah. Well, man, I've said this before too, and it's kind of like we we know how to blame everything except for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And that's a problem with all of us,
Hmm.
straight up. And like, think of man, like gender roles, bro. Gender roles. There's nothing wrong with that. Like we make fun of like, go make me a sandwich. Ah, ha, ha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look out the kitchen window. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Like, no,
Hmm.
I get it. Those are just jokes. Okay. Now I feel like somewhere along the lines, no, I'm serious.
I know.
Somewhere
I
along
know.
the lines, something happened. And I don't know if it was a dude or a gal that made this definitive like point in time,
Hmm.
but something did happen, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
In terms of like
And
how we got to this point
how we
today.
got to this point today to where like we get like insane women, like we get women that are on extreme sides. They're like we're gonna have double your rights, and
Hmm.
we're gonna make sure we do that and all this. And it's like, dude, we never competed with rights.
Yeah.
Like, as a dude, I am telling you, I don't think I've ever competed with rights. Well, yes, because you guys had it all, because the system is on your side.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, so you're telling me that all men view this, that all men view that women don't have rights, we don't care, and all this crap,
When in fact it's not true,
when in
because
fact, that is
yeah.
not true. It's kind of like, it's really good marketing,
Hmm.
straight up. Like,
Look throughout every aspect of society,
mhm,
judicial system, work wise, career wise, nowadays at least, um, like throughout every area of life, women are treated with more, even more of a, in the at the end of the day, they win.
mhm,
Like if a mother and father are going through a divorce
yeah,
and they go through the judicial system, divorce court,
mhm,
the women will almost always win. And I don't necessarily have a problem. I mean, I do have a problem with that, but it's like this whole idea of women not having rights is, it's complete horseshit. Because if you actually analyze it for what it is, it's not true.
mhm, yeah. So this obviously stems from somewhere else. We trust people's word way too much
Hmm.
rather than doing the research ourselves. Because there's plenty of information out there. You just need to find it. Now, we are also lazy beings, right? So that gets us to just trust people's words based solely off the fact that you are lazy to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So This person knows that, which is why he's a great marketer. He's going to tell you what it is, and you're going to pass it down like it's information that you spent time in class with,
Mhm.
when all you really need to do was listen at the perfect time.
Yeah. I'll also tell you where I think a large part of this stems from. It's this notion of Marxist philosophy where it talks about everybody has to be equal, everybody has to be paid the same amount of money, do the same work. It's a very slippery slope. It doesn't work. But I think that's a major contributor to how a lot of people think just about society in general.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but like lately I've been like, if I have a thought, then a million people have had it too. Right.
Of course, yeah.
So I am no different than most people. And actually, all of us.
Hmm.
So even if you have weird thoughts, I'm pretty sure they have crossed people's minds before.
Yeah.
Right. Um, so how in my world do I get thoughts like, dude, I don't ever remember mistreating a woman,
Hmm.
you know, um, or even acknowledging like their statements, in like their extreme statements, which are, we don't have rights. You guys have more rights than us. You guys get paid more. You guys are trusted easier. Blah 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 blah. Well, there are a lot of biological things that take a part too, right?
Hmm.
And I think about it logically. And I'm like, yes, I have taken some science classes here and there. I
Yeah.
have read some science books. I have like, we know this. And we've read gender role books. We
Hmm.
know exactly how it is. And then by nature, we know all the things from step 1 to 2 to 3, how to be a
Hmm.
man. We also know the other side, step 1 to 2 to 3 of women,
Yeah.
intuition, emotion, that kind of stuff. It's derived from that, dude.
Hmm.
You can't change that. Just like I can't change men, right?
Hmm.
Like men will always be, in a sense, animalistic, if you want to call it, if that's what you want to call
Much more so
horniness.
than women. Yeah.
Yeah, testosterone. Why do you, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of
Hmm.
like, this is how it is. And we don't want to accept that. That's how I see these bitching women as.
Yeah.
It's just like, you guys don't want to accept what has been provided to you by God or whatever you believe in.
By the way,
Uh,
side note.
yeah.
Side note. Um, when we talk about gender roles, it's not like we're telling women, like, I'm not telling you, listen, bitch, stay in your place, do this, that, do X, Y, Z, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's more so of what women and men are naturally inclined to do. And for example, the whole career thing, like,
Mhm.
there are plenty of women who are driven to pursue a specific type of career. But you can also, like, you can have kids, you can develop a strong family while also doing your thing online, doing it on the side.
Mhm.
Like, nobody's telling you not to pursue the things you find fascinating or the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of understanding, like, listen, if you're going to climb the corporate ladder, you, in all likelihood, will not have a family. If you will have a family, it's going to be dysfunctional because you're not going to be there at home.
Yeah, dude. Richard Cooper talks about that all the time.
Hmm.
And he actually, like, for the first time, he's the only dating coach that I would say teaches women that are 40 plus years old that are single how to find a man.
Hmm.
And he straight up says it. Your luck is pretty much over. Like straight up. This is the path you chose.
Yeah.
Men do not look for the shit.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. They
Yeah.
don't look for strategy. They've strategized themselves their entire life.
So what we do with other men.
Yes, we are self-reliant at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? So which is why I say women hop on our wagon, right? If
Hmm.
a man has truly built something, they will gladly find you and hop on,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't like it, get the fuck out. It's that simple.
Hmm.
Excuse my language, but
No,
yeah,
it's,
dude.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. It's
Also,
not an insult. People think I'm insulting what I'm talking
no,
about,
it's
but I
it's
really
not.
want to see, like, how is it that I have control as a man, right? With my urges or whatever, with my desires, whether it's ice cream or something else, doesn't matter. I have control, right?
Hmm.
So I know that I have that skill naturally, and I just don't see how other dudes don't have it.
Yeah.
don't have that control, or they
Mhm.
don't show it at least, right? Because everything's by action. You can tell me things all day, but if I
Great
don't see it,
segue into actually, I think, the final topic for
for real.
today's episode. This is something I've been thinking about the past few days, but
Hmm.
speaking of incentives, now this is about work rate, work ethic, how to work hard. Personally, I find it excruciatingly difficult to work hard at something that I don't care about.
Hmm.
But when it comes to something that I deeply care for, like the podcast, for example, I have no issue putting the most amount of hours in and doing anything and everything possible to get to the point where it becomes successful.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in the opposite side. Like I don't view that as a weakness. A lot of people would view that as a weakness. I view it as a strength.
Hmm.
Sure, I might get burned if I'm too stubborn in my life, but this is my personality. This is how I operate. So at the end of the day, I might get burned in some respect, but that will also lead me to the success that I feel like I deserve in the future or that
Yeah.
I'm going to work for.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is like how do you struggle with that, or like what is your perspective on work ethic?
My perspective, well, I believe that everything you do, you should do as if it's like from your heart, man. It should never be strictly for money.
Mhm.
And it's been proven to me over and over that once you do that, sure, you are gonna sacrifice some time, right? You're gonna sacrifice some time broke. So you don't it doesn't necessarily have to be $0. That's not what broke is. Broke can be defined differently for
Mhm.
every other person. And it's like, man, how do I want to bring this up?
Or at least do you find yourself struggling to work hard in something that you don't really care about?
Well, yeah, of course. Everyone does.
Mhm.
So as men, right, we like to think. The only problem is we don't schedule times to think. So we see ourselves thinking all day long.
Mhm.
And that is, I think, one of the huge sources of why we can't get started on things or keep going with things,
Yeah.
right? Because thought turns into emotion. And God knows we're not supposed to be emotional at this time, right? It's it's always going to be difficult, but I feel like once you work on a system that is designed for you to do it with passion, right? Without the worry of financial,
Mhm.
so that you have like a security blanket over you. And it's just telling you, hey, just work at your own pace, right? Chill out and just do it, right? If you're going to, for example, a task that everyone's doing right now,
Yeah.
taxes,
Mhm.
right? They dread the day they wake up because then it's just like a lot of us have to collect the receipts. We want to make sure that we have multiple write offs and all this crap is good to go so we can get our refund in time, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
right? Getting started is always the worst thing because you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to be entering the same info over and over and some boxes I don't understand, blah, 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 blah. So it's like we're already thinking way too much.
Mhm.
Do you see how I laid that out? And it's
I
kind of
agree.
like, why are you jotting every single detail down? Let's relax. We've done this before. You always treat things like you've done it over and over again before with that amount of confidence because once you have confidence at the very start of the line, that's going to get you to start and you've forgotten that you have started because you were in the middle of the work at that point.
Mhm.
And that sparks flow and everything else. So it's kind of like it becomes this mixture. It's like this cocktail of emotions, a rush, adrenaline, focus, um, creativity. It's like all everything at once. And I've done this with multiple tasks. They're not all creative. And that is, I think, the most important thing is is remembering to put your heart into it. Because if you don't, you're not going to be satisfied.
Mhm.
Um, the other person either receiving the work or someone viewing the work is also going to be able to tell that this
Yeah.
wasn't the best.
Mhm.
Uh,
Personality is a big one too.
yeah, personality. It's how you approach attitude, man. It's everything. It's like your attitude on life. Okay, you know how you give people the time of day and the smiles and the laughter and the jokes. But then once you're alone, you're like, it all ends.
Yeah. You're just putting
You
on a
should,
face.
dude, it should be the opposite of that. It should be you giving yourself that. And then it'll portray onto other people, and people will want to magnetically just attract to you
Mhm.
always for no reason
Yeah.
because you're being you. So if you start with yourself, it just follows onto everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think the personality one is key. It's just I've heard Brute de Force on Twitter talk about this a lot. It's just if you go against your personality, you're not gonna win.
Yeah. So it's like putting on an act, I think.
I mean, you can only go so far putting on a fucking
So,
act. If it's
yeah.
not authentic, then what are you doing it for?
Yeah. A personality. So being yourself. So work on a personality that is yours.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's not a character.
Mhm.
Eh,
And that's the thing, it's like other people who perceive stubbornness, for example, is a great one. Like they'd perceive that as a negative trait.
mhm.
It might be negative to you, but a few years down the line, it might work out spectacular for me. Confident it will work out spectacular,
Yeah.
but it's all about playing your game, playing
It
your own
is.
game according to your personality.
It is. It is. And I think it's much deeper than that, to be honest. I think it's like, what is personality? You know?
Yeah.
Some people don't know that. They're like, yeah, I'm being myself. I'm really quiet. Well, that's a, I don't know if I should, you know, is
Mhm.
that a bad personality? I don't know.
Pros and cons
Is
to
that
it.
even a personality? I don't know.
Yeah.
So does personality just mean charisma and shit?
Mhm.
Because I don't believe so. Right.
Mhm.
So I think it just depends. Like, are you a sheep or not? You know, and it's okay to be one, just like Ibs has said before.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just keep it going. Always start with yourself. Get your own opinion before others.
That's a big one.
We have a gut, man, and that's what people don't understand is that whether it's healthy or not, actually, it still signals to you
Yeah.
this is a bad idea or a good idea, and just move like that. You
Mhm.
know, remember that like when you're out, that's more opportunity for signs to happen. If you're huddled inside all day, you're going to become an overthinker. You're going to become this guy that is basically, oh, I'm just procrastinating right now. You know, but you eventually get things done, and it's always on the deadline and all this stuff. When in reality, you should be hyperactive. You should be always thinking about your next move, but in the chillest way.
Yeah.
And I swear, it takes less time and less energy to do that. Thinking takes up 80% of your day, causing you to have literally no energy to do anything else.
Mhm.
The worst thing in the world.
And of course, the way we started the podcast is the way we end it.
Yes, sir. You guys know what to do. We are on Instagram at the 2 a.m. podcast. Go give us a follow and check out our new merch. Tell us how we're doing. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more major streaming platforms. Go check us out on YouTube at the 2 a.m. podcast. Give us a subscribe, like, and share. Please turn on your ring notification bell so you can get a notification every time we upload. For now, just give us a 5-star review on Spotify, and we will catch you next time. Peace.